Hello and welcome to the Choralosophy Podcast. This is episode 59, Married to the Choir with the Robisons and the Munces. This is a special episode that comes at podcasting from a bit of a different angle. Enjoy a spot as a fly on the wall while two couples, both comprised of choral musicians, sit down to discuss the benefits and possible pitfalls of being married to someone who shares your professional sphere, who shares all of your professional goals and aspirations, etc. It's an interesting dynamic. So my wife, Beth, and I welcomed Dr. Janaea Robison from the Conservatory at UMKC and Dr. Brett Robison of Viterbo University to join us in our living room for a candid and open sharing of experiences with being married to choral musicians. We covered how choral music brought both couples together, how competitiveness can create a challenge in the relationship, how it's important for us to remember our role as supporters and fans for each other, while also wanting honest professional feedback from our partner. We are still trying to walk this tightrope, but I believe that you will find this conversation interesting and engaging and hopefully helpful. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, for those of you who like to listen to podcasts, the audio version will be fine, but this is a especially engaging one on the YouTube channel, so I encourage you to head over there and check out this episode there as well. We do have some announcements. You're gonna hear these announcements starting to drift away because we are getting really close to the Atlanta convention, April 9 through 11, but it is not too late to sign up. This episode is going to come out in early March, which means that you could still grab a spot and get signed up to join us there. That's going to be some awesome in-person professional development happening over the course of basically 2 days. So from a Friday evening, March 9th, to Sunday afternoon so that you can fly back in time to get back to work on Monday. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. So get signed up over at choralosophy.com. Also, shout out to all of the affiliates who help make this show possible. You can grab amazing choral products that really help you do your job better and more efficiently at all of the vendors that have been so gracious to throw their name behind the show. And so we show our appreciation by purchasing products from them, whether it be sheet music from ryanmain.com, graphitepublishing.com, or renewing your Sight Reading Factory membership and getting memberships for your kids because it makes you better at your job and your kids get a better education. And you get a discount when you enter Choralosophy at all those vendors. You've got those resonant singers masks along with great folder products and choir robes at mymusicfolders.com. And of course, there's the nerdiest one of all, which is vocevista.com/choralosophy, where you can download for free the resonance software that shows your students what it looks like to sound good. It's a different way to learn. And for some of our varied learning styles, it's a great opportunity to go over there and download the software for free. And when you love it, you can get the paid version and enter Choralosophy at checkout and save 10% there as well. And then, of course, last but not least, there are the producers over at Patreon: Ulrika Igrain Munoz Alarcon, Chandler Smith, David Kowalczyk, James Mock, Steve and Kathy Kokachik, Kyle Peterson, Michael Heron, and Ryan Main. Well, thanks for coming. This is going to be fun.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh! It's time. Oh!
Yeah. We're just hanging out in our living room, and people will probably hear the dog, and that's okay. We're just not going to be stressed about it. This is definitely the first. This is the first time we've used this room to record, because with 4 people, we can't quite fit in my recording studio upstairs, unless we didn't care at all about social distancing.
Oh, got it.
We could non-socially distance up in there, but it would be quite awkward. Okay, so let's start this way. First of all, Brett, Janaea, welcome to our house.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
So why don't you guys first introduce yourselves to everybody? Who are you?
I'm Janaea Robison, and should I give professional title?
Yeah, all the things. Define yourself.
Yeah, so I'm the Director of Choral Studies at the University of Missouri Kansas City Conservatory. And I'm a wife and mom and actually grandmother as well. And this is my husband, Brett.
Yeah, so Brett Robison, and I teach at Viterbo University in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's not Viterbo, it's Viterbo, in case people look at it.
Get it right.
Get it right, yeah. Yeah. This was my 5th year at Viterbo. And I, of course, direct choirs, teach conducting and the secondary choral methods. And also a grandpa. and a father of 3, and 3 children, 2 cats, and 1 little dog. So,
In addition to the human children.
yes.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Who are you?
I'm Beth.
Welcome back on the show.
Thank
Beth.
you. Yeah.
But you have to introduce yourself, though. Don't assume.
Okay. I am Beth Munces. I am your wife, Chris's wife. I am a private voice teacher, and I am a mother of 2 children, and I sing. I used to sing before the pandemic hit.
You sing again now, though.
Yes, I am starting to sing again. Yes. And we have pets as well, a dog and a cat and a fish.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And so what we're coming together tonight to talk about is the idea of being married to the choir, so to speak.
Yes.
Interprofessional marriages, which is an interesting thing to think about. Just even outside of the choir context, what would it be like to be married to someone who not only do you have to then live together, but you have to share the same types of professional concerns, the same types of how do we measure ourselves in terms of success. I can imagine that there are lots of things, and we'll have a chance to talk about all this stuff and how it's played in our lives. But I could imagine pros and cons. There's the aspect of, you could say that on the other side of things, if you're married to someone who has no idea of what it is that you do and has no appreciation for your world, then that could create challenges.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But at the same time, how exactly the same can your careers be before that becomes actually a challenge? And so
This is like therapy.
right, yes,
Right.
this is marriage therapy, and so that's what we're here to talk about. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just kind of married to the choir. So let's start out. Brett, Janaea, why don't you tell us your origin story? How did you meet? How did this romance begin?
Do you want to start? Well,
You
I can start, and then you'll fill in the blanks.
I'll fill in the gaps.
It won't take me long because I forget everything. So we met in 8th grade in PE class because, my last name is Robison. Of course, that's Janae's last name now. But in 8th grade, it was Rogers. So we were in line right next to each other.
Okay.
And should I share the leg thing?
Yes.
So she remembers that, in 8th grade, I had hairy calves.
I did.
and-
I just thought he was so manly because
Yeah.
he had hairy legs. And I'm 13, so.
And she had just moved into my junior high from Germany.
Yeah.
So we didn't know this mysterious Janaea. I mean, Janaea is kind of a mysterious name anyways. And who is this person? And she got to be known as the voice really quite quickly. We did not hang out.
German voice.
That's right. Who's this girl?
Which even in 8th grade doesn't always play well with other sopranos, at least in that school. And so Janaea started getting all the solos and all the attention. It seemed like. I mean, I didn't really care. I was just happy to just sing my little baritone part. But so I just had known Janaea since 8th grade. We didn't hang out. Just always respected the work that she did and just marveled at the voice she had. And we all look forward, well, except for the other sopranos, when Janaea had a solo and to get to listen to her. And then I would say then the next major moment would have been in high school when she started dating my best friend.
Yeah.
And I started dating her best friend at the time. And so we went on double dates, and then it didn't work out. I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself, filling all that in. But it didn't work out with those couples. And then I moved in and asked Janaea out and this was my senior year. So we, fast forward from 8th grade. But, sung in choir with her throughout junior high and high school, except for 1 year because she got into the top choir immediately in high school, and I did not. So yeah.
As a girl.
Yeah. So so always was friendly with Janaea, and then we started dating, and I'll stop there for now.
It started with hairy caps, and then
There we go.
Exactly.
It started with the hair. Yeah. No, I think even more significant though was I remember like I moved in and I didn't even know like what clothes you're wearing in the United States, how to do your hair. I mean, I was a hot mess.
Did you grow up in Germany?
Well, I lived there for 4 years.
Okay.
So, and we never came back to the States. And, you know, it was a military thing. And so there's like one TV station, the Armed Forces Network. And I mean, there's no internet. I don't know.
Right.
But so I remember being like terribly uncool, and that he was really very cool, at least in my estimation, and that the rest of the people in the junior high choir would kind of, you know, screw around periodically, as, you know, we were apt to do, but that this one popular guy always sat up straight, always sang out, and I thought, that's kind of weird, because he's a cool kid, and they don't act that way, and it was Rhett. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, by the way, how would you grade his telling of the story?
It was good. It was really good. Yeah.
Because I know I've given up on even telling the story.
Oh, no, wait. You have to tell the story. I'll listen.
Well, I mean, I would, yeah, because I know you're going to grade me.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Well, you have to give her a chance to tell her version of the story.
I'm not. Yeah, we're there. Yeah. So, and that was kind of the point. So, do you have any part of your perspective to add to that, other than the hairy legs?
Well, I mean, then we then have been in every college experience, every degree afterwards, except for one degree now, with Brett having earned a Master of Business Administration. We've gone to the same institutions for everything. Mm-hmm. So Luther College, University of New Mexico, University of Arizona. So.
Except for that 1 year.
Oh, yeah, 1 year. When I actually, so this was kind of an epic romance, like right after we graduate from, so people ask, are you high school sweethearts? Well, like the last 3 weeks of our senior year. Mm-hmm. And then my family moved to Illinois, and I was supposed to go to college in Decorah, Iowa, at Luther College. And then, you know, I was so unhappy with that idea, and we had spent the whole summer together, and I moved to Illinois then, and I was just miserable, and my mom said, why don't you just choose to go to Pacific Lutheran University? You were already accepted there, to see if you can go. Mm-hmm. And so like 3 weeks before school started, I changed my mind and said, I called him, and I think it was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like August 25th, something like that. I called him and was like, surprise, I'm coming back. And I don't know that Brett was completely happy with that.
I was very shocked.
Yeah, you were shocked.
Didn't expect it. Yeah. And I went to community college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tacoma Community College, because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life after high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Janaea had known forever she wants to be in music, so I still needed to figure that out. Yeah. So we had that 1 year where
that's true. Yeah,
you were at PLU, and then I was at the community college, and then started to figure out. I still sang in choir with my high school choir director, because he took an interim position at University of Puget Sound.
Oh, okay.
And so he just said, "Hey, just come sing in the choir, Brett. You know, they won't charge you or anything. We just need more bodies."
Right.
And I took voice lessons with him, and then, Nordic Choir was coming through touring from Luther College with Weston Noble, and Janaea set up an audition for me without telling me, because she really wanted to know, or to go back to Luther. She knew that, you know, about halfway through, I think, this year at PLU, she really wanted to go to Luther, and she eventually said, "I'm going to go to Luther," and I said, I wish you the very best. So I kind of thought that would be it.
The quote was, "There's no golf in Iowa."
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm not going.
Okay.
But
So it sounds like in those early years, we're still not to the point where they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're more serious about the music stuff still in those early years, and Brett's just kind of along for the ride and singing because you can sing, and you start taking it more seriously later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was that year that I started to get an idea of, you know what, in reflecting, choir was the only thing I looked forward to. Mm-hmm. So why not do that?
Yeah. Okay.
Why not give that gift that my high school choir teacher gave me to other kids? Mm-hmm. And so then it became my mission and passion. But but Janaea we were talking about this on the drive over here, like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you were like 8 years ahead of me in many ways.
Yeah, because I mean, it was probably
Women
10.
always are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in many ways,
Yeah.
but musically. Yeah.
I mean, I never considered doing anything else. Never. And my parents didn't ever say that, I had to be limited in what I chose to do. I mean, my dad's a doctor. I'm sure he would have supported me in doing that if I wanted to. Mom's a nurse. But I never thought about doing anything other than music.
That's amazing they supported you, though, through, something kind of completely opposite
Yeah.
than what they went into. So, yeah.
How did we meet?
You tell the story.
No, I'm
I'll
the
grade
host
you.
of the show. I ask the questions.
Oh my gosh. We met in church choir.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you sat behind me and you were super like nerdy and precocious and I'm like, he's kind of cute and kind of smart and I had a little mini crush on you. And
Thank you for throwing the mini in there.
But then I remember we got to spend a lot of time together with each other on our choir tour we went on with UMKC. And I remember starting to see you in a different light then. So
And more of a normal size crush developed.
more of a normal size crush developed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I would say that that's a really succinct version of the story. I think we, of course, we met. What were we? 25.
Yes. No, we met when we were
23.
23 or 24. I know. I started the church job when I was 24. And
We started dating 25-ish.
at 25. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so the reason I bring that up is just, we have one of the things we have in common as couples is that we're all choir people. One of the contrasts, though, is that, we met a little bit later in life and had already both chosen a path. And so that'll be interesting to see if that plays into any of these, the dynamics, I guess. Because when Beth and I met, we were already, I was a high school choir teacher. Mm-hmm. She was a grad student in voice. And so that,
Finishing. I was finishing.
yeah, right. And so that path had kind of been determined. Mm-hmm. We never had to have a relationship conversation about, what our careers were gonna look like. It just became about there's still competitive stuff that happens, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, I remember being like, you were a breath of fresh air compared to the other guys I had dated, who didn't get it, like the
non-music people.
The non-music people,
right.
the baseball player guy or the whatever, people that weren't in music and they were kind of like, turn off that recording, and I'm like, I wanted you to hear this recording that I did.
From the pro baseball players and models that you used to date
I know, no models. No. There were no pro baseball players, no models.
He was a minor league player.
He was minor, yes.
Okay, that's a pro baseball
Yes.
player.
There you go.
But I just remember like always feeling that void though, where I felt like no one really got me or got my passion and got my, what I wanted to do. And I remember, with this one guy in particular that I had dated who said, it's just singing. It can't be that stressful. And because I remember talking about how stressful it was and how stressful graduate school was and just some of the different things that I was going through at the time. And he was like, it's nothing compared to what I'm going through, and I was just kind of like, oh dear, and I just felt like we had that instant connection and you got me right away. And we
don't have to justify the stress because for sure.
Yeah.
So what time? All right. So let's kick it back to Brett and Janae here. So, at what point then do you think in your evolution, from the early years to when I'm assuming you're both in graduate school at some point?
Yeah.
I'm just going to make a guess, where it starts to become maybe part of your relationship that hey, we're both trying for the same stuff here. Is that about then? You think?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly think it's more, in a way, that is more surfaced more recently, wouldn't you say? I mean, because of my, I never wanted to let solo singing go and say, now I'm going to move into just conducting or I'm just going to do solo singing. So, and Brett had more of a focus of music education or later on, orchestral conducting that we without, I think, really verbalizing it, made sure that we were distinctly different so that we weren't going for the same jobs. And I think, I sooner on realized I wanted to teach in higher ed. But it very much was, and maybe that wasn't good, but it was not intentionally verbalized that we need to be looking at sort of different jobs so that we don't compete for the same things, because we really do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I'm thinking about it like from maybe a 1,000 foot view, you do the same thing. But then even within that, we direct choirs at colleges, could be quite a bit of different focuses that you could create for yourself, even if it's subconsciously, so that you have your own domains of expertise, your own domains of things. And I can imagine that's in some ways self-preserving.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, one example is when we were in Arizona, and that was when the economy tanked, and we finished our doctoral work. We hadn't finished our dissertations, but there was no jobs, and so we had to create opportunities. And so we started this nonprofit, and we just sort of knew there needed to be distinction, and so I took over the orchestral side, and Janaea had the choral side. So she started a children's choir program and had this wonderful adult semi-professional choir, and I had a semi-professional orchestra, and I started a youth orchestra program, and that worked because we were able to say, that's Janaea's stuff, and these are my toys. We can share, but then it also was easier for people to sort of, that's part of it, I think, is like for people to understand what is different then, like why between you two. About why would I want Janaea to come clinic my choir? What's the difference between you two? Well, I can offer this, and Janaea is stronger in this area, and so trying to do that. I mean, again, it's hard for people who aren't in our field to understand that. It's like you just do all the same thing, and
Yeah.
But
Right. How would you guys describe that? Like, so let's say we get the Robison twins to come clinic our choirs. How would I have a fun game.
Charades, we're really good at that.
How would Janaea describe the clinician that they would get with Brett, and then vice versa?
We actually, because earlier on in our marriage, in between, different jobs and doing church jobs and stuff, I wound up being Brett's pianist for a lot of church jobs. And we have this kind of friendly, silly banter where, like, I don't agree with your tempo, so I just look at you and no, I'm not playing that way. And and we would just, and it would become kind of a joke. And so I suppose we have this sort of funny banter together. I think that I'm like the faster talker, super fast paced, and Brett has always, his shtick has just been different from me with that. Like he's funnier, he's more sarcastic, he's just laid back, but not in a bad way, like commanding excellence, but not in the really hyper way that I would do it. So I think that we play well off of each other, and then we're not afraid to make fun of each other in front of
that's important.
It is, yes.
But I think it stems from my disrespectful and unruly childish attitude with being your pianist. So
it does. I think that's where the shtick started. The Brett and Janaea show, and we finally actually got to clinic a festival together. And it has never worked out where we've done that together until it was 2 years ago. I think this month.
Year and a half ago. No, it was in the fall. It was the Badger Honor Choir All Fest.
No, the one up in we done it twice.
Yeah,
it's the Metro.
But this was one where we're both we're the conducting clinicians, not just adjudicators. So we actually got to work the.
But I would say to answer the question that, Janaea is super, there's a lot of energy. It's a lot of focus on the voice because that is definitely one of her strengths. And so she is a master at getting especially young people to make sound. And so, and feeling comfortable doing so.
Yeah, that's awesome. So on our side, we're not both conductors. We can bring all kinds of other interesting dynamics, though, because and this made me think of this as soon as Janaea said that she has sometimes been Brett's accompanist in rehearsals. Beth sometimes sings soprano in choirs that I'm directing.
A lot.
Well, a lot, yeah, a lot. and that can create a very similar kind of dynamic, whether it be church choir, where you just like don't care at all and will occasionally like sing some notes and stuff, all the way to contrai, where you care a lot, and then we have some of those competing director,
where we full on
informations.
argue with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes.
and then sometimes other singers in the group want to quit because of it, and like this whole. So it can range. I mean, it's obviously not that bad all the time, but it can be, so.
And as friends have said to us, or to me, like, you both have equally good ideas. They're just sometimes slightly different from each other, like a quarter different, like you were just coming at something from a different angle, just in interpretation. And so it's, our strong personalities coming out sometimes.
Right. So would you say that this?
You should let them ask us questions.
Yeah.
They're welcome. They're
Yeah,
welcome
let
to.
them ask
All right,
the
so
questions.
is Beth unruly in rehearsal? See, that would be me.
No, there have been times, but I wouldn't say I would.
According to you.
Right. Exactly. So
It's hard having your husband be the conductor, though.
Yeah. Right.
Because in our marriage, we are equal. In our house, we are equal. And we are in this 50%, and we parent 50% each, or we each parent 100%. And
I would say you're more in charge.
here in the house?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. So in the rehearsal space, he is 100% in charge, and it's hard for me to step back and let go of control, and I'm used to being in charge of what my students do musically, and I have an idea in my mind, and sometimes it's hard for me to let go of that and go with that. And so, especially if it's any other conductor, it's fine, but when it's to your husband, it's just, there's that little bit of a, that, you get it. You get it.
I get it.
You get it.
Well, I think
It's a different dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, to the thinking about like is she unruly? I don't know if I would describe it that way. I think it's more like two things are going on. One is the dynamic she just described, and then there's the other is, and you guys could, as conductors, you could both put yourselves in this shoe, where you always have, I think in every choir we ever direct, no matter whether our spouse is in the choir or not, there is a concern that there might be someone in the choir that everyone in the choir thinks is my favorite.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in this case, I literally sleep with
It
one
is
of
the
the
truth.
people in the choir. And so
You-
I do. It's scandalous,
right.
and you heard it here. And twice we have 2 kids.
We have 2 children. Yeah.
Right. And so my point being that if you're in that conductor brain where you're trying to lead an efficient rehearsal and you want to try to incorporate everybody into the rehearsal, there might be moments where you might say some stuff and it might be totally valid and totally like normal. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to make sure I'm not giving her too much voice, because am I giving that same voice to everyone else? And that's the part of my brain that I might be in when I'm going to shut that comment down, and we're going to go on to the other thing. Whereas it might be a totally valid comment.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But I'm trying to not look like she's the one who gets to say everything, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's like, honestly, I can't say that I've ever figured out exactly where that line should be.
Yeah.
Like
we're still
Yeah.
figuring it out after
Yeah.
11 years
Right.
of that.
because it's more of a self-consciousness thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm thinking, like, how is this going to be? So if I sit here and let Beth, run down her whole laundry list of all the things that we're doing wrong right now, and
You make me sound so bad.
well,
I
I
know.
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, other singers do it too.
Right.
Other singers do it too, and that's part of the environment of our group. But then at the same time, I'm always thinking, would I give this same amount of airtime to
Right.
everyone?
It's
Right.
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that creates issues for us too.
Yeah, we don't have so much of that experience. I mean, the only thing that would be similar to that would be when we've served on our board of directors together. And that, I mean, we actually, we don't disagree with a lot. I mean, down to like, decorating the house or, I mean, we have very similar minds, but I do think that, there've been more of a, Brett is much more egalitarian and discerning. And I am very quick to, let's just do it. Let's make a decision. And so that will drive me crazy as a person. Like, just come on, let's just do it. And we're the ones who thought of this. Let's just make this decision. And Brett would be like a marvelous counselor or therapist, whereas I would be a disaster, I'm sure. But
I don't think that's true.
No,
but you'd be a different approach.
I would be different. No, I mean, I suppose not in my memory can I think of a time when you've sung in an ensemble for me, other than just the occasional, will you come sing with my church choir this Sunday?
True. Yeah, not on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, Janae will, even recently I was just thinking, I mean, it hasn't been often because we just generally have, I mentioned to you before, Chris, that we'll have like separate church jobs, and how tough that's been on our kids at times. But so we don't sing in each other's choirs very often. But, if it's a special something, whatever, Christmas Eve service, and I don't happen to have one at 9 p.m., please come over and help us, and I'm happy to do that. But when, I don't know how Janae feels. I mean, I still, at this point, I mean, and we've been doing this a long time, music, conducting all, I still will, like, get a little nervous when Janae is out there, because I know she is thinking all the time. She, I think I would take that tempo a little faster. Or I would, so, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But I could see her mind working.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not,
okay, maybe that was true earlier on. But actually, I'm actually surprised with myself that, I mean, in like the strength finders test or whatever, my number one strength is competition, which doesn't sound like a good strength. It sounds terrible. But so I am naturally competitive, and it doesn't matter who it is. But that I've been so incredibly impressed by Brett's work in the last few years that I'll listen to him and I'm just like, dang, I couldn't get my choir to do, or listen to how he shaped that phrase. I didn't ever even think about that. And I feel like we still come, at least I do, with that burden of we're still the 13-year and 14-year-old kids who knew each other way back when I was the music person and he just kind of liked it.
Right.
And so for him to have like his own really innovative ideas and success and stuff, it's like, always
who
just
are
like,
you? Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's no, it's really good. I think that I get nervous for a different reason now because I'm really impressed with the like teacher and musician he is.
I'm not a licensed therapist. So disclaimer. But let's go deeper with that with that emotion. So you have that, and since now you've both kind of mentioned it, which is that little nagging, like I wonder if my spouse is in the audience, what are they thinking about the way I've done this work? Mm-hmm. Does that lead to conversations after the concert, and how does that go?
Yeah, it goes many ways for me. It's a great question because it's something I think about a lot. More recently, that I need to be more careful about what I say after concerts, because I think it's hard to shut off that whatever you want to call it, musician's brain of you can tear apart anyone. You could tear apart a professional choir at any moment and say I don't like that. I don't like And then to go, that's not my role right now, Brett. Like, Janaea does not...
I'm the supportive
Yeah, I need to, like, just be like, great.
Yeah.
What a great, concert. I love that literature. Try to find the positives, especially right after a concert.
Yeah.
Because we all want to be affirmed. It doesn't matter who we are. In that moment.
Yeah.
Everything's so heightened.
Right.
And, and I reflect upon that just, because a million concerts into our careers at this point, a lot of times I don't think I have said probably the right thing, and I know that you've hurt me at times.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'll be
like,
like,
oh, you didn't
"Did you
like
just say
that piece? I was really looking forward for you
Yeah.
to hear that piece
Yeah.
of music, or
No.
or I thought like my sopranos really did sound good, and you like tore them apart.
Yeah,
or
No, I didn't. No, I didn't."
we're talking about 25 years now
Right.
of experience, of concerts and critiquing, and I'm starting to realize, I need to think about what hat I'm wearing in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting because I remember when we first started dating, Chris always told me I was his favorite soprano. Like, oh my God, your voice. Oh my God, you're my favorite soprano. And then at some point he's like, I want to play a recording of my favorite soprano.
Oh, no.
And it was not me. And I was like, who is this? And you're like, she's really good. It's my favorite soprano. And I'm like, I thought I was your favorite soprano. And you're like, I've been listening more lately and listening to other.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yes!
I don't know if I agree with the verbiage of the way this story's been
This
told.
is so how it was. And
This might be the feeling you had.
I bet she could tell you the date, the time, what you were wearing.
I know what we were listening to. I was like,
You don't remember who was the soprano then? Was it like Natalie Dessay or something?
no, it was not Natalie Dessay. We were listening to those Bernstein songs. Jupiter has seven.
Roberta Alexander.
Yeah, and you were like, she's my favorite soprano.
She has great diction.
Okay.
And
Okay, and I just remember being like, what happened? What am I, chopped liver? And now, like, you've gone back to saying I'm your favorite soprano again. I don't know if something's changed. If I don't know. Or if you're just saying that, I don't know.
well, no, you did. You sang again recently.
And now I've earned that role again.
Well, I mean, you can't. Yeah, you're not like a soprano technically if you're not actually singing at that moment. I'm joking.
Okay.
No, that's interesting. So, but I think that you're probably maybe telling that story with a little bit of more.
There's no hyperbole.
More meaning to you than it was to me at the time.
Okay. But I have to say that I can relate to everything that they were saying with the whole like critiquing each other. And I know there have been times where your group has performed MMEA or something and you thought they were so amazing. And I'm like, I didn't like your literature choice. And I didn't like your sopranos did not sound good. And I was super critical of different things. And I look back now and I'm like, that probably wasn't the best thing I could have said or the most supportive way I could have said that. And then conversely too, like after I perform something, you've come to hear me and I was looking at you in the audience and wanting you to be my biggest supporter. And you're like, it wasn't your best, or whatever. So
I've never said that. Never ever said that. That's not true.
That's just a generalization.
I might have not been super impressed with the group you were singing in, or
maybe
something like that. But you were always, of course, the shining star.
Okay.
So no, I think that there is something interesting though from all four of us though in this, which is that we are all in some context teaching people to sing, and we do that in front of people, and then we have a spouse who in some way could build us up or tear us down in that moment, unintentionally or whatever. But one of the things, and this might be for anyone who's listening too, because even if you're not married to a choir person or whatever, where how much of what we do, let's say you come to my concert and tell me my sopranos don't sound great or whatever, and I'm like working with high school kids and I'm like, you should have heard them before.
Right.
Like
right.
I'm
it's just
like
the concert.
to me that was a miracle that I just worked to get them to sound like that.
And you didn't hear them before.
Right.
And your criticism of is the way they sound now, and like you should know better, because right in the same way that like if she's got a private voice student that she's been working with, and and I could pick out all kinds of technical flaws from that kid, because maybe they're even one of my students at school, but I never hear them by themselves or whatever. And
you didn't hear them before,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect of it of even if the two of you are subconsciously or consciously critiquing each other's phrase shapes at a concert, there's always that reality that I think we always have to remind ourselves of, like, maybe that's not even the phrase shape that she was going for.
Right.
Because sometimes singers don't do what we ask them to do.
They're nervous. Right. Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's always been something that's hard for me too, is just that when we do a performance, whether it be we're singing together, like I know one of my biggest frustrations sometimes ends up being that like when we're doing something together and in contrary it doesn't go as well as we'd want it to go or whatever, and sometimes because I'm the director, in your mind a lot of some of those things become my fault, and I'm sitting there thinking like, but I had all these other things on my mind too. Like I had to make sure that the board member showed up on time, and I had to make sure that the paychecks got there, and I had to make sure, like all
The
these other
whole
stuff,
thing,
and like, but and so there's this, there's just, I think it is true. I think it's that idea of like who, as spouses, who are we to each other in that moment?
Yeah.
And because we live together, there's going to be those other times when we can talk about those things, which is interesting. But okay, so far, and we can come back to all kinds of gripey things later. But so far, we've talked about mostly gripey things. What for you guys? What's the best part about being married to someone who you share a profession with?
Geez, I think it'd be something like, so I lectured on Bach D minor mass the other week, and then be able to just say, it's this part, song to storm, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and we could just kind of nerd out on the same types of stuff. Or that, I mean, for us, it's so much deeper than that because we have such a long history that we can be like, I can actually still sing my alto part from this song that we sang in Ferrucci Junior High, and we can talk about that and the history of things. But I think it's the nerding out or the, just that he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The shared wavelength.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think the best part is not even just that we can do that, but it's where we're kind of back to the when and where, like when you should critique. But we walk together a lot, and so that's our time to just kind of let frustrations go.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a very healing time, I think, for both of us to just be like, this is not going well. And it's not even necessarily that Janaea needs my advice in that moment or I need hers, but it's just, there is a comfort to know that Janaea knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, and it may not even be a musical thing. It may be a personality thing with a colleague. It may be, or a student I'm dealing with, but these are issues that both of us have a lot of experience in. And so just to know that she understands, I find that to be a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Or even just the dynamics of academia and the environment of that. Yeah, for sure.
You get each other's pressures that you're under. So if you're preparing for something or vice versa, then you get it. You get the amount of time that you need to spend, preparing a score or, auditioning or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
The blessing of it?
Yeah. What's the best part about it?
I have to say along the same lines, like just being able to nerd out over things and knowing that I'll get your honest opinion for something. Like I know that when I sing something, you'll give me your honest opinion. And I know that like you'll give me honest feedback about it, and that if we can talk about pedagogy or how we feel about a song, and we get it. We're on the same wavelength. I agree. It's the same thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the only thing I would add is that I like the minutia of like what we do every day, like what all of us do in some capacity every day. The minutia can be explained I can explain it to her with very little effort.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So for example, even something that like, if you had a non-vocal music spouse in some way, if I came home from work, for example, and said, I have a 15-year-old girl and she got her vocal folds to touch for the first time today in 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to explain that in great detail to a lot of people to get them to even understand what that means. What do you mean their vocal folds touched for the first time? What does that mean? But like I can just come home and do like a simple brag about a triumph that I felt at work together. And, oh, cool. And like, she didn't have to really care because maybe she didn't even know that kid. But like, there's that still just that idea that you can like have a certain shared lingo, a certain shared set of what success means and what stress means. Like you were saying, like if you're under the same similar types of stresses, because we're all under a similar type of stress too, which is that we have to, like I said before, we have to make people do stuff in front of people, and then how those other people do the thing is how we are evaluated.
Yeah, right, right.
But I also have to say, I love that we're growing as musicians together too. You know, we've changed as musicians. We've been able to change as teachers together, and you know, certain things that I've changed in my teaching, I know that you've adopted and changed too, and certain things that you've changed and adopted that I've taken on and adopted too. So we've kind of grown together. We've been able to share that. We share that common knowledge and feed off of each other in that way. So
Oh yeah, I mean, I've learned a ton from you about things that I take from your voice teaching into my classroom. And there's times frequently when when she'll have me come downstairs to demonstrate something for the boys that she can't demonstrate, or
Sure.
you know, the idea that we can be kind of a team, which is another question I was going to ask you guys too. Is if so, I'll force you to say something else nice about each other. What could you say, each of you, that you've learned from the other, like on a professional level?
That's a good question.
That's I think, you know, I mean, having not only gone to the same schools, but we've had the same major professors for everything that is integral to what we do. Brett has taught me a lot in the last 10 years just about efficiency of gesture, watching him and being like, oh man, I need to do it like that. You know, I mean, just in ways that I wouldn't have thought about doing. I think also his rapport and recruitment with students, where, you know, before I was at UMKC, I'm teaching at Luther College, where, you know, you have people who are willing to quit their varsity sports, you know, teams to be in choir. I mean, recruitment is a constant thing there, but it's not, you know, it's an established program. Whereas Brett goes into his job and increases the participation by 100%. And I don't know that I could do that. And so just that's really been impressive to me, because that's something that I didn't know that he had in him, and I haven't got to witness that firsthand. So it's exciting to see the things that I think I know everything, because we have experienced the same journey so much.
You haven't seen each other in different environments.
Be able to, because we do, I think, you know, more that I verbalize it, I think we probably compartmentalize things so much for each other so that we don't, you know, just overtly compete, that we'll talk about things a lot in the abstract, but not always sort of sharing like, oh my gosh, you should hear my choir. You know, I mean, we kind of keep that more separate. And so it is really amazing to see, just to be like, I remember you when we were like, you know, in beginning conducting class and studying what the, you know, French and Italian instrument names were. I mean, like, seriously. And now look at us. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I would. Geez, that's honestly a hard one, because I feel like I mentioned before, I've always felt I was way behind Janaea. So it's like I'm learning stuff that she's doing all the time. But I would say, you know, just musically speaking, I mean, Janaea, I feel, is just a vocal ped whiz. I mean, it's not just that she knows what she's talking about, but she loves it. I've just never seen someone, I mean, maybe Beth, you're this way too, but she just nerds out on this stuff. I'm like, after 5 minutes, like, you know, can we talk about something else? You know, but when I go and watch her present, I'm just absolutely blown away. I always take something new from it. Like, oh, yes, I got to start incorporating that into my rehearsals. So I mean, it's like anything. When you see people so on fire about something that, to your average person, it's like, what's the big deal? Why are you nerding out about it? It's just, it's inspiring to me. And the other thing is that Janaea, in her personal life and in her professional life, can function on no sleep. And maybe that sounds silly, but
Same with him.
I don't,
Same with him.
I don't
Yeah.
understand it,
Yeah.
and I respect it because
Yeah.
she can go and knock out an all state, or individual voice lesson or whatever it has to be done right now, and she doesn't stress out about it. At least she doesn't show, even though she just got 2 hours of sleep that night.
Yeah.
She's like, oh,
Not
well.
intentionally.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like,
Yeah.
and we all battle, well,
Yeah.
at least Janae and I, at times in our lives, battle sleep issues, and that really throws me. I'm like, I'm just not going to be the same teacher that I would be. I didn't get enough sleep. I have a tendency to overthink it and kind of panic a little bit, where Janae's like, oh, well, we just go on. And the same thing is, she keeps an amazing house, and our kids have everything they need, and, on not a lot of sleep.
Wow.
And so it just has kind of inspired me as far as a work ethic of like, no, you can still get stuff done.
That's so nice you said that. I don't
I
realize that.
I'm envious, but just because I wish I could be more like that, and because it's a real strength. Because there are just times, where we all get overwhelmed with life, and we have a lot of obligations, and that's not unique, to us, but she just handles it so well, and
That's interesting.
pushes me to do better.
Yeah, I always wonder if there's something about those types of qualities in partners that we kind of instinctually seek, almost as if they
Balance
complement.
us out in
Oh,
some
absolutely.
way. Yeah.
I totally believe that.
Because,
Do we get to answer that question too?
Go ahead.
Wait,
Yeah.
have you answered it?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. Okay, I'm sorry. I just forgot. Okay. Do you want me to answer it first?
Yeah, sure.
Oh. So, Chris can give a speech for, graduation ceremonies or incoming freshmen at UMKC. He was asked to do that a million times because he was the president of the Alumni Association. And the night before, I'm like, what are you going to talk about? And he's like, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I don't know. And then he'll go and give this amazing speech, and people will be like, it was so awesome. It was amazing. And I'm like, if I have to speak, I'm going to plan it out. I have to know exactly what I'm going to say and have it written on note cards or something. And you're just so like good and dynamic in front of an audience. And if you're stressed, it doesn't show. That's one thing, just your public speaking ability and your fearlessness, and just how focused on the future you are. You're always looking to the future on what the next thing you can do, and building the next project and the next thing. And you always have these different ideas in your mind. You're just a natural entrepreneur, and I wish I were more like that. I'm very I live in the moment, but I also kind of exist just in the next few months. You know what I mean? And so I'm not looking as far into the future. And I wish I was more entrepreneurial, and I just had more of that in me. And so I also wish I was more of a public speaker like you are. Those are qualities that I wish I had. So yeah, your fearlessness and your confidence, I wish I had.
Well, and that's also interesting because I feel like some of the things that are the way that you are, like I said before, just there's a certain amount of balance that happens, and these are the types of things that you wouldn't have known about each other when you first got married. You learn these things, even you guys when you met young, probably. But like, for example, one of the downsides of what you just said about me, which was very nice and very sweet, and thank you for saying that. But one of the downsides is that because I'm always focused on the future, sometimes it's hard for me to be passionate about the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's one of the things that I always I can see in you that I kind of sometimes wish that I could. It's going to sound wrong, but I'm just going to have to say it this way. Sometimes I wish that I could get really mad about something that's happening right now. because that would mean that I'm there with it. Like like even things in rehearsal, like, so think about like the times in rehearsal, we were talking about this before, where Beth might want to stop the rehearsal to talk about a thing, like a detail. Like there's this detail, we're just not getting it right. And she's usually got something about like the basses and the sopranos just aren't agreeing on that pitch there. We're not, or like there needs to be more resonance from here so I can tune to this, blah, blah, blah. And those are all great details. Like we need to get that. But in my mind, I'm thinking about like there's the schedule of rehearsal and we got to get to this amount of things and this amount of things. And that's all 45 minutes from now. And then she'll get really passionate about that detail. And my mind is, at 3,000 feet looking at all of the things. And sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just be.
You're super macro and I'm super micro.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
There's like I appreciate the detailed too.
So
like,
detailed. I'm very detailed.
I appreciate them. I just oftentimes can't get my brain to focus on one of them at a time.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things where there's a balance there, that if I learn, just in what ways, and sometimes I'd even describe it as like almost like a passion that sometimes you have, even if it's like in a way that in the moment would feel very, annoying to me, or like if it's about like where, on which side of my closet my shirts are hanging or whatever, like that might seem stupid to me, but in a lot of ways it's an example of that same thing.
Yeah.
That's a detail.
Yeah.
That you're focused on, it matters to you in a way that is very important in that moment. But for me, I'm thinking, will I care where that shirt is a year from now? I will not. So I don't care where the shirt is now because of that. And there's a certain aspect of that I think whenever we, share our lives with someone, that there's a, like the more we can know about the other person in that way, the better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is also part of it. Like, what can I learn from that? Like, what can I borrow from that at that given moment? But yeah, so I wonder too about things like,
you didn't say what you admired about me yet.
I just did.
You did?
Yeah, your ability to be passionate about details.
To nitpick about your shirts.
That's what you heard?
Yes, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
We'll have to rewind the tape.
I love that you nitpick where my shirts go in the closet.
That was the end of, that was an example. That was an ancillary, trying to be humorous example of it. No, what I meant was that what I admire about you is your passion for the details in the present.
Okay.
Like that you can be present. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's very, very hard for me to do.
Okay.
And I don't know if, in fact, I would even say that's true of me in rehearsal too, like with my kids at school. Like I have to stop rehearsal in order to like be present.
Sure.
That's hard. It's hard for me to do both, like to be in rehearsal and feel like I can focus on a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, and so we do a lot of, in my rehearsals, we do a lot of what we call story time. We just sit down and talk because I can't like incorporate it in. I have to like dedicate time for that.
Right. Oh, exactly.
My dad was kind of that way, or he still is. My dad's that way too, where, he might go 6 months without saying anything like affectionate to us, but then he has to stop all of Thanksgiving dinner for 30 minutes to give a speech about how much we mean to him. And then 6 months will go by and,
Yeah.
and there's a certain amount of personality there.
I have a question.
Go.
Should we be serious or funny?
That's the question?
Well, no, but I have two questions in mind. Okay. You get to choose. Choose your own adventure.
Should we be funny?
We could try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Share something about the other spouse that no one knows.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
It could be something quirky, something funny, something unique.
Well, I wouldn't say that not everybody would know this, but Brett, when we first started dating, was the pickiest eater I'd ever met in my life. Like, and I come from a family where we live for food. And that was just, we ate out a lot and we tried all these different things. And my parents took like Greek and Italian cooking classes and stuff. And so to meet this person, that it was like, I will eat banana bread, but I will not eat a banana muffin, even if you put the same like batter in a muffin cup. Or that I like corn on the cob, but not corn off the cob. And I was like, what the hell
What?
is wrong with you? And
Not
so,
anymore.
no,
I've learned.
and now he's so much, he's just wildly more adventurous. It's just, I can't, you are but a shell of your former self.
Well, yeah, thank
It's
you.
fantastic. Yeah. So,
Or he has filled in the shell.
He's
that was
filled
his
in.
former shell.
Yes. Yes.
So he had a toddler's appetite, basically.
Yeah.
Well, we have a toddler that lives in our house now in the form of our grandson, and he's more adventurous than Brett was.
He is. To be fair, though, I have always told my kids, do not be like me.
Yes.
It's just ridiculous. You don't want to go down this path, and I think it's because my mom was just, basically in many ways a single mother. I mean, my dad was hardly around in the evenings, and she did everything, and she was, worked a full-time job.
Superwoman.
So everything was just very simple. Food was very simple in my house.
Yeah.
And so we just weren't adventurous. We didn't have a lot of money, so
Yeah.
we never ate out, and they ate out all the time growing up.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
If you're not
it's-
introduced to
why?
different cuisines, you're not going to want
it
to try
just
them.
was
Yeah.
scary to me.
Where that was like the coolest thing, like we don't know what that is. Awesome. Let's
Yeah,
try.
exactly.
Brett's like,
yeah.
terrified.
I'm trying to think of something weird about you.
I know it's trying to find something that you would want shared on the internet.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
No, but
Well,
That's all right. We're at the end of a podcast. No one gets this
No
far.
one gets
into
this
the
far.
end.
Yeah.
well, I don't know that you were, you mentioned it kind of at the beginning. You were an army brat.
Yeah.
And Janaea was
Do you still speak German?
rough and tough.
I didn't. Well, I used to
interrupted,
speak
I'm sorry.
German.
Oh, sorry.
but
But I mean, she, now she's so,
yeah.
beautiful and, dresses so classy. But, you see the Janaea of her youth, and she was very much a tomboy.
Yeah.
She was
And
Janaea.
like she beat up kids,
Because they tried to hurt
deserved
our
it,
brothers. Yeah,
supposedly.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Because they would pick on her brothers.
It was
But
the army.
you know.
It was like kids just got in fights, like for legit fights. Yeah, our kids have never been in.
Well,
a
that
fight.
brought up an idea. So I'm glad you said that, because that brought up an idea that we now have to do. No arguments, which is that now I need to promote this episode. I need before, like, then and now pictures of both of us.
Oh, God!
We're gonna do,
Oh, God!
beginning of relationship.
All right. Oh,
beginning
yeah.
of
Oh,
relationship
good. At least
pictures.
I'm so glad
You
we
got
don't go
those.
back to middle school,
Yeah, I
because
was
then
gonna
I would
say.
have to share middle school
like us,
pictures.
like of our couple.
Okay, that's great.
Our
You guys
coupleness.
are ones of that. Yeah.
Okay,
Super
now obviously you
Yeah,
had
what do you have?
you asked the question because
Oh, I wasn't thinking in regards to us. I was just
I
thinking of
assumed
a
that
question.
you had something
Yes.
you wanted
Funny.
to say.
You need to know funny
something
things.
unique about. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay, I have to think about it. You can go first. I was just thinking in regards to them. I was just thinking.
I just
of a fun
assumed that
question.
your cynical side kicked in and you were like,
No,
I can get something out there on Chris.
no. Oh, but I can think of one. Let me think of one.
I'm sure you can.
You're kind of like a messy professor. What is it called? A absent-minded professor. Yeah, with just like tangled cords and like stuff everywhere, and you get your stuff done, and you're really smart, and you have all these different projects going on at once. But then I look at your desk, and I'm like,
Oh.
I think there's an ADD thing there that I haven't ever been diagnosed with, but I've
Possibly.
read a lot about that, where it's the whole, like, people with attention deficit issues, they might be high functioning, but we have a bad sense of object permanence, and so once I can't see the object, I forget that it exists. And so I read an article about this not too long ago where my mess, and I resonated with it, which is why I remembered with it. I was like, my mess looks totally legit to me. Like, it makes sense because it's my mess. Other people's messes drive me crazy. So it's oversimplifying to just say I'm messy. And because if I went into some, like a hoarder's house or something, I would be really uncomfortable. I would see all the mess around. I wouldn't like it.
we would be in a hoarder's
But-
house if it was just you, though.
Well, yeah,
But it'd be
yeah.
his
It
hoard.
wouldn't be. I wouldn't. Right. I wouldn't. I don't think I would hoard.
Not hoarders. It would just be super like.
Everything would be spread around.
It would be scuzzy.
Yeah.
It would be very scuzzy.
Yeah, it would be spread around.
Yeah.
And it's actually interesting because I've told people that about myself before, and like professional, like someone who only knows me in work mode, they're always very surprised by that.
Right.
Like the people, I think outside, they picture me as somebody who would be very organized because I do so many things. And so then, like, you'd assume that, well, he's organized. He's got all his, he probably has spreadsheets and, like, all the different, like, I don't have spreadsheets.
Like when we were dating, I had to go clean his apartment for him. And he had a cat in there, and I'd be like, oh my God, the cat box is so bad. And, like, just the tumbleweeds under, like, in the bedroom. And it was just so bad. And it would get so bad that I'd have to clean it because you just didn't see it.
Well, yeah, right. Like shout out to Ryan Main, who's a good friend, but he's got tons of spreadsheets on everything. And some of our listeners were writing in asking me to, like, could you put together a list of some of your favorite pieces that you've ever done for your beginning level singers? Because, you know, you do such great work, and I'd like to, you know, have your just you put your brain in a spreadsheet. And of course, I'm like, how would I even do that? Like, I don't have any record of what my choir sang 3 years ago. Like, I'd have to dig through, and then of course I go, I went on my Patreon and I started to make one, and I added Ryan Main as an editor to it, and of course within 3 seconds he's like dumped pages and pages and pages of, like, separated out by by voicing, by difficulty level, and like so he keeps, like, so some people are that way, and I'm just not. And I don't even know, like, even the idea of being that way stresses me out. Like the idea that if someone were to ask me to, like, put down on paper, that's why I podcast, because I can talk about it. Like, put down on paper what your sight reading method. How do you teach people to read music? I can tell you about it, but I wouldn't ever be able to write a method book. Like, that would stress me out. So yeah, it's very much like maybe an attention issue, or I don't know what it is, but it's also why I never ever wanted to go back to school.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. So all right, so thing about you that no one would know, and so I think one of the things that's interesting about you is that that as you have gotten older, which is something you've gotten.
I know that. Thank you. Yeah.
But is that you've started to figure out where the musician side of your life fits into your life.
Yeah.
And I guess that's starting to sound like one of the things I admire about you too, but it's one of those things where it's not the type of thing you talk about on social media, really.
It's not at the forefront, and it's important to me, but it's definitely not, like, the only thing in my life, you know, because I have my kids and I have our family life, you know, and yeah, and I think that's a cool thing, and that's one of the things that I'm starting to get there too. But COVID has done that for me, for sure. It's like I still care about the profession, and I still care about achieving things as a conductor and as a podcaster, and, you know, different things that I want to be good at, and I want to do cool things. But at the same time, like, the level of focus on, you know, but will that take away from my family time? Like that, I cared about that before, but I care about it a lot more now. And I feel like a lot of people think that way.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been fun. This has been fun. So let's finish. So that our brains don't fry here under the lights. Let's finish with just, you know, something that maybe you guys could leave the listeners with about, maybe, like, this will be fun. Advice for people who have gotten less old than us.
They'll be there eventually.
You know, about, you know, what if you could go back and, like, talk to the 20-something-year-old maybe who is going into our profession. What are some of the challenges that you could help them foresee about just even being married and building a life together with someone when they have the demands of our jobs?
Do you want to start? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we had some, I think, really good models when we were undergraduates that we didn't even take a lot of classes with. Tim and Sandra Peter, who were at Luther College and are now at Stetson University. But I think one thing that I always took away from them, and that I wish someone would have told us, like our parents would have told us, is that you really need to be one another's biggest fan. And I really saw that modeled in the Peters. But it wasn't until, we didn't think in those sort of terms, back when we were students and we weren't married. And, we were a few years into being married, and then, coming across these issues of trying to, vie for who's getting what job, or, where we're going in our direction. I think that would be it.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting for people to know that our high school choir director, the one who really inspired us to want to do what we do now, he told us before we got married, "Are you sure you want to get married?" Because you have a hard road ahead of you.
Oh, being in the same profession.
And of course, at 22 years old, you're like, "What do you know, old man?"
Right, right.
Shut up. I'm in love.
Yeah.
And had no clue the challenges, of course, ahead of us. And it's been very, very difficult at times. And so the advice I would give is to, when you especially are in those transitional moments, be it, you're going to move to, for us, move to Minneapolis for your first professional jobs as teachers, or you're going to go to grad school. There's no harm in sitting down with like a marriage counselor and working through that, because you're talking about your lives, and and we, especially I think as artists, this is more than just a job.
Yeah.
Right? And so like it really can do damage.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so I think just there's no harm in having
I agree with that.
Another some other people. Let's talk it through. Okay, Janae, why do you want to take that job? Or Brett, why do you want to go to grad school now? And try to help you kind of balance it out.
Having that unbiased source coming in and asking.
For sure.
I would definitely do that. Probably like 5 or 6 transitions in our life, we should have had a professional just sit down with them. We're thinking about doing this right now. Can we talk through it? I think it would have at least, we probably would have made the same decision. But it would have been less headaches along the way, less hurt.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. What about you?
I would say just keep your little family nucleus, your little family unit at the core of everything. Like that's the most important thing. Those are the people that you come home to. Those are the people that you want in your corner. And just always make sure that you make time for them, and always make sure that you are mindful of them, and people that criticize what you're doing or whatever, who cares? You know what I mean? Right. Like, we're all going to be dust in the wind. Eventually, like, who cares about the naysayers and the negative Nancys and stuff? Just worry about the people that you care about, your little nucleus.
Yeah, for sure. And it, for me, it has everything to do with finding the right person, regardless of the profession. So, earlier Beth told a story about a boyfriend who said something about how it's just singing. It can't be that stressful. I would say that no matter what.
That's when I was like, we will no longer date ever again.
Right. And I guess that's kind of the point, is that you don't have to understand firsthand the stress to still recognize in your partner that they're stressed.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, I don't want this to even feel like a conversation about how choir directors can only be happy if they marry other choir people. That's not the point, obviously, but it's that regardless of the dynamic of the two professions in a partnership, that there has to be that sense of being each other's biggest fan, like you guys said earlier, which I think was really good. Very good. And just being able to be that sounding board. So ultimately, it has to do with being, finding the right person. And so yeah, I think those are all important things. And this is just fun. This is a fun conversation. I appreciate you guys taking time to do this with us.
Oh, our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you
for inviting
us.
us.
It's fun.
Awesome.
It's like therapy.
That's right. On the couch.
On the couch.
How does that make you feel?
I love it.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yay. You're welcome.
Thanks as always for listening to an entire episode, but in this case, thank you for joining us in our living room. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I know I did. It was a lot of fun to involve Beth again on the show, which was great. And then, of course, having Janae and Brett come over and socialize, really, but let you all be a fly on the wall. That's just a unique opportunity for us to get to know each other as colleagues. And I think that is something I'm really passionate about, is getting to know each other as colleagues. The things that we could do at conventions, remember when those were in person, those types of conversations that, oftentimes are in the bar at the hotel until 1 a.m, right? These are how we build our collegial foundations and how we really move our profession forward, by seeing each other as really people on the same team, because we ultimately all are. So I was really grateful for Brett and Janaea for coming over and sharing some personal and intimate things with the world, with the choral world. And I think ultimately we've got to be there to support each other as spouses, but also as colleagues. So thank you so much for doing that. On the way out, Voce Vista, Sight Reading Factory, Graphite Publishing, Ryan Main, mymusicfolders.com, all have Choralosophy at checkout coupon codes that you can use every single time you make purchases from these fantastic vendors run by great choral professionals and excellent people. So head on over there and grab what you need. And don't forget to enter that promo code. And then, as always, when you like, when you share, when you comment, when you interact with the content, it helps me a lot, saving money for ad costs on social media and all of that. So those are always very helpful things. And subscribe on any app you can, and click the like button, any of those types of things. And of course, last but not least, leave a rating on your podcast app if you can. These are things that really help other people find the show. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.